Hi, I'm April.
And I'm Deb.
Once again, and today is Thursday the 13th, and we are doing report out number 2.
Right. So the first question was about any technologies that we're adding that we had not considered before. And one is we would like to explore some technologies that will help our students fix some of their grammatical and mechanical problems that we really cannot fix for them in class, or we can't edit their papers and have that fix them. That's just not the way grammar and mechanics work. And yet there are problems with their writing, and they're going to need to realize, when they get out of academia, they're going to be held to some conventions of standard business English, and that includes freedom from those kinds of errors. So they do need to be addressed. It's just that we don't think class instruction is really the way to do it. So we were hoping to find some self-directed online resources where students can, once they get our feedback about what their problem areas are, students can go and explore those problem areas and practice doing it the right way and hopefully get some self-improvement out of it. At the publisher's lunch today, I spoke with some people, I believe from McGraw-Hill, who it sounds like they have some possible resources that we could look into. We're also going to look for some that are available on the internet. So far, the programming within the sessions of AeL have not covered that at all, and I don't know if they're going to, but that's one thing that we're going to be looking for in our redesign. We are also, both of us, actually more open to clickers than we ever imagined that we would be, and I have been adamantly kind of and philosophically opposed to them, and I
Me too.
am considering using them. So that's kind of interesting. Not necessarily in the class that we're here to redesign, but I'm actually seeing some benefits that I did not expect to see. So that was pretty cool.
Okay. The second question asks what we're most concerned about as we move forward. And I think for both of us, our biggest concern is getting enough time specifically during the program, the AeL program, to complete the redesign. We had hoped to get the majority of the work done while we were here, and that was kind of the impression that we had. So I don't really have anticipated hitting any roadblocks in the redesign if I just had time to do the redesign work of sitting down and the two of us together sitting down and figuring all this stuff out. So that's kind of our biggest concern there. And then we have one assignment in particular, our third assignment, that we need to sit down and talk about, but that's kind of a small issue to me. It's just getting the time to do it, really.
And what are we most excited about? I think both of us are most excited about this idea that was introduced during one of the very first sessions of AeL last week, and also that is introduced and sustained by the Bean textbook, which we love. Very, very useful and helpful, is this idea of engaging students more in their critical thinking and through their writing by adopting a problem focus. So we're using that idea to make specific revisions on our formal writing assignments. It's also given us ideas for some possible informal writing assignments that we might be interested in using in class, low stakes exploratory writing assignments. And it's really kind of shaping our rethinking of the entire class, to be truthful. So and we're very excited about that because we're finding it more engaging too, which always leads to better student engagement.
Definitely. The fourth question, the last question, was if you could redesign a learning space at Chico State, what would you do? And I think this links back to an activity we did earlier in the week where we went and looked around, or looked at different spaces, classrooms on campus. And the thing I came up with, if I could redesign a classroom, I would love to have more room in my classroom somehow, either fewer students or a bigger space, because it's really crowded, especially if you're putting students in groups. There's times when I have to ask people to move to literally get to the back of the room, and I don't mean like once a week. I mean pretty much any time. I put, four classes a day, so I'm doing that 4 times a day, 3 times a week, and I've have seen better classrooms that were a little easier to work in that terms, and plus it gets loud. And then I have to say, I did like the chairs that we went and looked at, the ones that were on the wheels, the rolling chairs, the ones that moved a little bit, partially because I think students will be more comfortable, and I think they would be more likely to learn something if they're comfortable instead of miserable while they're sitting there, if their back's not hurting or whatever. And in terms of group work, which I do a lot of in any of my classes, they can move. You can make a pod of desks and stuff. And I have
much
taught
more
in,
easy to do that on
Yeah.
the fly group work, which
Yeah.
supposedly is good for their learning as well.
Yeah, and I have taught in classrooms that were set up more like that, and it is considerably easier when you have the combination of the stuff that moves and a little bit bigger space. Or like I said, I mean, I know I'm never going to get fewer students in the room, but a little bit more space would be great somehow.
I would like them to be cleaner as well. I know the budget cuts have led to less funding for janitorial, but sometimes our rooms in Tehama are downright filthy,
Yes.
and that does
True.
not produce a great attachment to learning on the part of students.
Although they do help clean up. I've had several help
Yeah.
clean up when something gets spilled. The students are now the janitors.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right, well, that's the end of our second report out, and we'll see you next week.